What if the work that truly fits your heart is not far away, not impossible, not meant only for a lucky few, but already waiting for you to become ready to receive it? What if the reason you feel tired, heavy, or restless is not because life wants you to suffer, but because your soul is gently asking for something better? So many people wake up each day with a quiet sadness inside. They do what they need to do. They carry their duties. They meet the demands of the day, but deep within, something feels missing. There is a part of the heart that wants more than pressure, more than survival, more than endless struggle. There is a part of you that wants to wake up and feel peace. A part of you that wants to give your gifts in a way that feels alive, useful, and full of meaning. And that desire is not silly. It is not selfish. It is not too much. It is a sacred sign that you are ready for a better way. Take a slow breath and let that truth settle inside you. You are not here only to drag yourself through life. You are not here only to count the hours until the day ends. You are not here only to force yourself through work that empties your spirit. You are here to live. You are here to create. You are here to share your energy in a way that supports you instead of breaking you. There is a kind of work that feels different. It may still ask for effort, but it does not steal your soul. It may still ask for discipline, but it does not crush your light. It may still challenge you, but it also fills you with meaning. Deep down, your heart knows this. Your heart knows that your life can open into something kinder, brighter, and more true. For many people, the idea of loving their work feels almost too good to believe. It sounds nice, but far away. It sounds beautiful, but not realistic. Maybe you have told yourself that work is supposed to feel hard, dull, and heavy. Maybe you have believed that joy and work do not belong together. Maybe you have learned to think that doing what you love is only for other people, not for you. But those thoughts are not the truth of your soul. Those thoughts are old training. Those thoughts are habits of fear. Those thoughts were built from disappointment, pressure, and the voices of people who may have forgotten how to trust life. Yet your heart still remembers. Your heart still knows that when you are in the right place, doing work that matches your spirit, life begins to move differently. There is a soft wisdom inside you that has never stopped calling. Sometimes it speaks loudly through frustration. Sometimes it whispers through boredom. Sometimes it reaches you through tears, through tiredness, through the feeling that no matter how much you keep going, something important is still being left behind. That inner voice is not trying to make you unhappy. It is trying to lead you. It is trying to guide you away from a life built only on duty and toward a life built on truth. It is trying to show you that your gifts matter, your joy matters, your peace matters. The kind of work you do matters because it shapes your days, your energy, your thoughts, and your future. Think about how much of life is spent working, serving, building, giving, helping, creating, or providing. If such a large part of your life feels empty, then of course your heart begins to ache. If you spend day after day doing something that feels wrong for you, it is natural to feel tired, in more than just your body. The soul becomes tired too. The mind becomes cloudy. Hope becomes weak. And after a while, a person may begin to think, this is just how life is. But life is not meant to be only something you survive. Life is meant to support you. Life is meant to meet you. Life is meant to flow through you in ways that help you grow into more of who you really are. It is important to understand that doing work you love does not always mean every day will be easy. It does not mean there will never be effort, challenge, or learning. It means something deeper than that. It means there is a rightness in it. It means your spirit can breathe in it. It means when you give your energy also returns to you in some form of meaning, peace, growth, or joy. Loving your work does not mean floating through life without responsibility. It means your responsibility becomes connected to purpose. It means the energy you give is no longer only drained away. It begins to circulate. It begins to nourish you. There are people who look strong on the outside and yet feel deeply lost inside because they have stayed too long in places that do not match who they are. They may continue because they feel afraid to change. They may continue because they think they have no choice. They may continue because they have forgotten that life can open new doors. If this has been true for you, be gentle with yourself. You are not weak for feeling tired. You are not ungrateful for wanting something better. You are not wrong for wanting your work to feel more alive. The desire for better opportunities is not greed. It is the heart's natural movement toward growth. Sometimes the soul grows too large for the small space it has been living in. Then discomfort begins. Restlessness begins. Nothing feels quite right anymore. The old way may still be there, but your energy can no longer fit inside it with peace. That is often when a person thinks something is wrong, but often nothing is wrong. Something is opening, something is waking up, something deep inside is saying, you are ready now, you are ready to stop shrinking, you are ready to stop settling, you are ready to believe that your life can support you in a more loving way. There is no shame in realizing that you want your work to feel different. There is no shame in wanting work that brings peace to your heart. There is no shame in wanting to wake up with more hope and less dread. There is no shame in wanting to use your gifts in a way that feels right. For too long, many people have been taught to accept struggle as normal and joy as extra, but joy is not extra. Peace is not extra. Meaning is not extra. These are not rewards that only come after endless suffering. These are signs of alignment. These are signs that life is meeting you in a more natural way. If you have ever looked at your life and quietly wondered, is this really all there is? That question did not come to hurt you. It came to free you. It came to open a door in your mind. It came to remind you that the path you are on today does not have to be the final shape of your life. A new path can begin in a very small way. It begins in thought. It begins in willingness. It begins in a soft change inside the heart. Before the new work appears, before the better opportunity arrives, before the new direction becomes clear, something begins within you. It is often simple, It is often quiet. It is the moment you stop saying, "Nothing better is possible," and begin saying, "Maybe life has more for me than this." That small change matters more than many people realize. A new life often begins before the outer world changes at all. It begins when a person becomes willing to see themselves in a new way. It begins when a person becomes willing to believe they are not trapped forever. It begins when a person lets go of the idea that struggle is the only path available. These inner changes may seem invisible, but they are powerful. They change your energy. They change what you notice. They change what you are ready to accept. They change what you are willing to receive. And when your energy changes, life begins to respond. So let this moment be different. Let this moment be gentle. Let this moment be the beginning of a new relationship with work, purpose, and opportunity. You do not need to force anything right now. You do not need to have all the answers today. You do not need to know the full path ahead. You only need to be open enough to consider that your life may be ready to shift. You only need to allow the idea that you can be supported in doing work that feels better for your mind, your body, and your spirit. This is where change begins, not in panic, not in pressure, but in openness. Imagine how different life feels when the day no longer begins with heaviness in the chest. Imagine waking up and feeling that your energy belongs somewhere that honors it. Imagine giving your time to something that feels useful and alive. Imagine doing work that may still ask something of you, but also give something back. Imagine not needing to prove your value through exhaustion. Imagine not needing to suffer in order to deserve success. Imagine knowing in your heart that your gifts are welcome and that there is a place where they can be used in a beautiful way. That possibility is not foolish. It is not childish. It is not beyond reach. It may take steps. It may take healing. It may take inner change. It may take trust. But it is real. Better opportunities are real. Work that feels right is real. A life where your effort and your joy can live together is real. Sometimes the first miracle is not the new opportunity itself. Sometimes the first miracle is the moment you stop closing your heart to the idea that something better can come. This is why it matters to slow down and listen to what your spirit has been trying to say. There is a deep difference between work that only pays the bills and work that also speaks to the soul. There is a deep difference between effort that drains and effort that grows you. And while life may not change in 1 second, the energy around your future can begin to change now. The moment you stop making peace with misery, the moment you stop calling exhaustion normal, the moment you begin to believe you can be guided towards something better, you open a new space within yourself. That space is holy. That space is powerful. It is the place where hope returns. It is the place where new ideas can enter. It is the place where fear begins to loosen. It is the place where the next chapter first takes shape. Do not underestimate what can happen when the heart becomes willing. A willing heart becomes more open. An open heart sees more clearly. A clear heart begins to notice doors, signs, nudges, and chances that were always there but could not be seen through the fog of hopelessness. Perhaps you have been waiting for a sign. Let this be one. Perhaps you have been asking life for something better, but feeling unsure if anyone hears you. Let this moment remind you that your desire for meaningful work is not ignored. Life hears the longing of your heart. Life responds to the energy you carry. When you begin to believe that work can feel different, that better opportunities can come, that your gifts matter, something begins to move. Even if you cannot see it yet, something begins to move. The future does not always open through struggle. Sometimes it opens through truth. Sometimes it opens through rest. Sometimes it opens through quiet willingness. Sometimes it opens through a simple sentence repeated with love until the soul can finally believe it. You are allowed to want more peace in your work. You are allowed to want more joy in your daily life. You are allowed to want a better match for your gifts. You are allowed to trust that the kind of work meant for you can find you as you grow ready to receive it. So breathe again and soften your heart. Let yourself be here. Let yourself feel what you feel without shame. If you are tired, let yourself admit it. If you are ready for change, let yourself admit it. If you have been carrying fear, let yourself notice it without judging yourself. This moment is not about blaming the past. It is about opening the future. It is about making room for a new belief. It is about allowing the possibility that your work life can become a place of healing instead of only a place of pressure. Many people spend years trying to push themselves into places that do not truly fit them. They think if they just try harder, ignore their feelings, and keep pretending, peace will come. But peace does not usually come from pretending. Peace comes from truth. Peace comes when your outer life begins to match your inner knowing. Peace comes when you stop fighting your own spirit. Peace comes when you stop acting as though your heart has no wisdom to offer. Your heart knows when something is right. Your heart knows when something is draining you. Your heart knows when there is another path asking to be discovered. And the beautiful thing is that life does not need you to figure everything out all at once. Life often works in steps. One thought leads to another. One moment of honesty leads to one new choice. One new choice leads to one open door. One open door leads to the next chapter. The whole road does not have to be visible right now. You only need enough light for this moment, and the light for this moment may simply be this. You are allowed to believe that doing work you love is possible for you. Hold that truth gently. You do not need to force yourself to fully believe it yet. You only need to stop rejecting it. You only need to stop saying no to your own hope. You only need to stop pushing away the idea that your life can become more aligned, more peaceful, and more meaningful. Let that small openness stay with you now, because from this point forward, everything begins with what you are willing to receive. One of the biggest lessons to understand is this: better opportunities do not always come when you push harder, worry more, or force life with fear. So many people have been taught that if they want something better, they must tighten their grip, work from anxiety, and push themselves past their natural limits. They believe that pressure is power. They believe that stress is proof of seriousness. They believe that if they relax for even one moment, everything will fall apart. But a life built only on tension cannot easily receive what is meant to bless it. Better opportunities often come when the heart becomes more open, not more afraid. This may sound surprising at first because most people are used to struggle. They know how to worry, they know how to push, they know how to work while carrying fear in the body. They know how to tell themselves that if they do not control everything, nothing good can happen. And yet, think of how exhausting that way of living feels. Think of how heavy the body becomes under constant stress. Think of how hard it is to hear your own inner guidance when the mind is always racing. When your energy is full of fear, it becomes difficult to see clearly. When your thoughts are crowded with panic, it becomes difficult to feel what is right. When the heart is tight, it is hard to receive. This does not mean you should stop caring about your life. It does not mean you should stop taking action. It does not mean you should sit back and do nothing. It means something much deeper and much kinder. It means your actions become stronger when they rise from trust instead of fear. It means your decisions become clearer when your heart is not trapped in struggle. It means the right opportunity is easier to notice when your mind is not clouded by desperation. There is a big difference between effort that comes from panic and effort that comes from peace. When a person is living in fear, they often say yes to what does not truly fit them because they are scared nothing else will come. They may stay too long in places that hurt them because they think they have no right to ask for better. They may ignore the quiet signs in their spirit because fear is shouting louder than truth. Fear says, hold on tightly. Fear says, take whatever you can get. Fear says, do not risk change. Fear says, good things are for other people. And if those thoughts go on for long enough, a person begins to believe them. But fear is not a wise guide. Fear is loud, but it is not always true. Fear often tries to protect you by keeping you small. It says, stay where you are, because at least it is familiar. Even if the work is draining, even if the joy is gone, even if your soul is shrinking, fear would rather keep you in a known pain than let you step toward an unknown blessing. That is why it is so important to begin changing your relationship with struggle. If you believe struggle is the only way, then you may miss the path of alignment completely. Alignment is a beautiful word because it speaks of order, peace, and rightness. When you are aligned, your inner world and your outer choices begin to move in the same direction. Your thoughts become kinder, your energy becomes steadier, your heart becomes more honest, your actions begin to come from a deeper place. You stop forcing yourself into every open space. You begin to ask, does this truly fit me? Does this honor my energy? Does this support the life I am trying to build? Those questions are powerful because they come from self-respect, not from fear. Many people think opportunities are only outer things, a job offer, a business idea, a helpful connection, a new opening. Those things matter, yes. But before better outer opportunities arrive, inner opportunity often comes first. The opportunity to think differently. The opportunity to see yourself differently. The opportunity to stop expecting only struggle. The opportunity to believe that life may be more supportive than you once thought. Inner opportunity changes outer life because it changes what you are able to receive. If your whole being is trained to expect disappointment, then even a blessing may feel unsafe. If your heart is used to pain, then goodness may feel strange at first. If your mind has repeated for years that work must be hard and joy must wait, then when a better chance appears, you may not trust it, you may turn away, you may doubt it, you may think it cannot be for you. This is why healing your energy around work matters so much. It is not enough to want a better opportunity. You also need to become able to welcome it. Welcoming something better begins with softness. It begins with allowing the body to breathe again. It begins with noticing how much fear has been driving your choices. It begins with asking yourself whether you have made struggle into a kind of rule. Some people do not even notice it anymore. They assume anything worthwhile must be painful. They assume rest means laziness. They assume ease means something is wrong. They assume that if life starts feeling lighter, it will not last. These beliefs are heavy, and they keep the heart closed. Yet life often brings the right things in ways that feel more natural than expected. A helpful idea may arrive in a quiet moment. A meaningful connection may happen when you are finally being yourself. A new door may open after you stop chasing what was never right for you. Sometimes the opportunity meant for you is waiting on the other side of one important change. The change from fear to trust. That change does not happen through force. It happens through awareness. It happens when you gently begin to say, I do not want fear to be the voice that guides my work life anymore. There is deep wisdom in learning to calm yourself before making choices. A calm heart can hear, a calm mind can notice. A calm spirit can feel the difference between what is urgent and what is true. Better opportunities are often missed because a person is in such a state of stress that everything feels like a fight. When everything feels like a fight, you may say yes too quick. Lie. You may cling too tightly. You may overlook what is quietly good because your nervous system has learned to trust only what feels urgent. But urgency and truth are not the same. Life does not always shout. Sometimes life whispers. Sometimes the right path arrives softly. Sometimes it feels like relief instead of excitement. Sometimes it feels peaceful instead of dramatic. Sometimes the best opportunity is not the one that impresses others the most, but the one that lets your soul breathe. If you are always looking through the eyes of pressure, you may not recognize peace when it appears. That is why learning to soften matters. Softness is not weakness, it is clarity. It is the space in which truth can be felt. A person who is open, calm, and willing begins to move differently through life. They are still responsible, but not ruled by fear. They are still active, but not driven by panic. They still care, but they are no longer crushing their spirit in the name of survival. This is a powerful shift because energy speaks before words do. When you begin to carry more calm, more trust, and more worthiness inside you, your choices begin to change. You stop settling so quickly. You stop shrinking your desires. You stop assuming that painful work is the only work available. You begin to become available for something better. Openness has an energy of invitation. It is not begging, it is not chasing, it is not forcing. It is the quiet state of saying, I am ready for what is right for me. I am willing to receive support. I am willing to be guided to work that feels better. I am willing to believe that life can bring me new chances, that openness changes things. It changes how you walk into a room. It changes how you speak about yourself. It changes how you respond when something new appears. It changes the kind of energy you send into your own future. So much of life is shaped by what a person believes they deserve. If deep inside you believe you deserve only stress, then stress will feel normal. If deep inside you believe you must earn peace through suffering, then peace may always feel far away. If deep inside you believe better work is not meant for you, then you may not notice the signs leading you toward it. But the moment you begin to believe you are worthy of meaningful work, something starts to shift. You begin to relate to opportunity in a new way. You stop seeing it as something rare and distant. You begin seeing it as something your life can actually hold. It is also important to remember that better opportunities are not attracted only by effort. They are attracted by readiness. Readiness is emotional. Readiness is mental. Readiness is spiritual. It is the state of becoming able to receive what once felt impossible. Sometimes people ask for something better, but inside they are still attached to fear, still expecting disappointment, still speaking to themselves in hopeless ways. Then they wonder why nothing changes, but life responds not only to what is said, life also responds to what is deeply believed. This is why daily inner practice matters so much. When you change the words you speak to yourself, you begin changing the shape of your energy. When you stop saying, I will always be stuck, and begin saying, life can open new ways for me, the heart starts to open. When you stop saying, I have no choice, and begin saying, I am being guided step by step, the body begins to relax. When you stop saying, better work is not possible, and begin saying, I am ready for work that supports me, you begin making room. Room is important. Good things need room to enter. Imagine trying to fill a space that is already full of fear. There is no place for the new to land. The mind is crowded, the heart is guarded, the body is tense. But the moment you begin to release even a little of that fear, space appears. In that space you can breathe. In that space, you can think more clearly. In that space, you can sense what is right. In that space, you can hear new ideas. In that space, better opportunities can begin to move toward you because you are no longer closing the door with hopelessness. You may have noticed in your own life that when you are desperate, everything feels harder, conversations feel strained, choices feel confusing, timing feels painful. But when you become more centered, more trusting, and more present, things often begin to flow more naturally. This is not because life suddenly changed its rules. It is because your energy changed. You became more available for support. You became more able to recognize what fits. You became less attached to fear and more open to guidance. That shift matters deeply. It can help to think of your inner state like the soil of a garden. A better opportunity is like a seed. But if the soil is hard, dry, and closed, the seed struggles to grow. If the soil is nourished, open, and cared for, the seed takes root more easily. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, and your level of trust all shape the soil of your life. If you have been watering the soil with fear, doubt, and hopelessness, do not judge yourself. Simply begin planting something new. Begin speaking life into your future. Begin giving your heart the message that it is safe to hope again. There is no need to rush this process. You do not become open overnight after years of worry. You do not become deeply trusting in one moment after a long history of struggle. Be kind to yourself. Every small shift matters. Every moment you choose a gentler thought matters. Every time you breathe instead of panic, it matters. Every time you speak worthiness over your life instead of defeat, it matters. Every time you say, I am open to better opportunities, your future hears you. Many people think attraction is about trying to pull something in with great force, but in a spiritual sense, attraction is often more about becoming a match for what you are asking for. If you are asking for meaningful work, begin honoring your own meaning. If you are asking for supportive opportunity, begin supporting yourself with kinder thoughts. If you are asking for joyful work, begin allowing a little more joy into your spirit now. If you are asking for better, begin believing that better belongs in your life. You do not attract from begging. You attract from alignment. And alignment begins with no longer worshiping struggle. It begins with stepping away from the old idea that pain is the only proof of worth. It begins with understanding that peaceful energy is not lazy energy. Calm energy is not weak energy. Open energy is not careless energy. These energies are powerful because they allow truth, guidance, and blessing to enter. When you are calm, you can hear. When you are open, you can receive. When you trust, you stop blocking what is trying to reach you. So if you have been telling yourself that you must suffer now, and maybe one day joy will come later, let that thought begin to soften. If you have been telling yourself that hard, draining work is all life has for you, let that thought begin to loosen. If you have been living with the belief that only pressure will move your future forward, let yourself consider a new truth. Better opportunities come more easily when the heart is open, when the mind is less afraid, And when the soul begins to trust that meaningful work is not only possible, but natural. This does not mean every step will be simple. It means the path becomes more honest. It means you stop betraying your own spirit to fit into places that wound you. It means you begin listening to the part of yourself that knows there is more. It means you begin making choices from dignity instead of fear. It means you start building a life where your work supports your well-being instead of fighting against it. And once that shift begins, life often responds in beautiful ways. Sometimes the response comes as a new idea that feels exciting and calm at the same time. Sometimes it comes as the courage to leave what no longer fits. Sometimes it comes as one helpful connection. Sometimes it comes as a door closing so a better door can open. Sometimes it comes as a new level of self-respect that changes everything. Whatever form it takes, the movement begins when you stop making fear your master. The movement begins when you allow yourself to believe that better opportunities are allowed to come through peace. Let this become part of your inner knowing. You do not need to pull your future toward you with fear. You do not need to punish yourself into a better life. You do not need to become smaller, harder, or more tired in order to deserve meaningful work. Your next opportunity can come through trust. Your next step can come through clarity. Your new direction can come through openness. Life can meet you in calm. Life can guide you in peace. Life can support you when you stop holding on so tightly to struggle. And if this truth feels new, let it be new. If it feels tender, let it be tender. If part of you still wants to argue, be gentle with that part too. You are learning another way. You are learning that peace is not the enemy of progress. You are learning that a relaxed heart can still take wise action. You are learning that worthiness does not need to be earned through pain. You are learning that better opportunities are not only found by force, they are also received by those who become open enough to welcome them. There are some words so simple that the mind may almost overlook them, and yet those same words can begin to change the whole direction of a life. One of those powerful sentences is this: I now do work I love. Say it slowly inside yourself. I now do work I love. At first, these words may feel hopeful, they may feel beautiful, they may even feel a little hard to believe. That is all right. You do not need to force belief. You only need to let the words touch your heart, because sometimes transformation begins not when the mind fully understands, but when the soul quietly says yes. I now do work I love. These words are more than a wish. They are more than a dream. They are a new instruction. They are a new direction for your energy. They are a gentle but powerful signal that says, I am no longer building my life only around struggle. I am no longer speaking as if joy in work is impossible. I am no longer calling myself trapped. I am opening a new path now. That is why this kind of affirmation matters. It is not empty. It is creative. It begins to shape the way you think, feel, and receive. Many people speak about their work with heaviness every day and do not realize how deeply those words affect the heart. They say, I hate this, I am stuck. Nothing better ever comes. Work is always painful. I have no choice. I will never find something better. Even if these words feel honest in the moment, repeating them again and again can build a cage in the mind. The heart starts to believe there is no way out. Hope becomes weak. Possibility becomes small. So the affirmation, I now do work I love, begins to loosen that old cage. It opens a window. It lets in air. It gives your spirit another message to live with. The word now is especially powerful. It is not saying one day maybe. It is not saying perhaps in some distant future. It is not saying only if I am lucky enough. It is saying now. This does not mean you are pretending about your present circumstances. It means you are choosing the power of the present moment. The present moment is where thought begins. The present moment is where energy shifts. The present moment is where a new reality first takes root. By saying, now you are refusing to place your healing and yin, our opportunity forever in the distance. Then there are the words, do work. This matters because the affirmation is grounded. It is not floating far away in fantasy. It is practical and real. It is about your actual life, your daily energy, your giving, your creating, your serving, your effort in the world. Spiritual truth is not only for quiet moments. It is meant to enter your real life. It is meant to enter the way you think about your work, your value, your ability, and your future. When you say, I now do work I love, you are bringing healing into one of the most real parts of your life. And then comes the word love. This word carries so much healing. Love does not always mean perfect happiness every second. Love means rightness. Love means connection. Love means your spirit is not being crushed by what you do. Love means your gifts can move with more natural energy. Love means there is peace in the giving. Love means there is value in the effort. Love means your work is no longer only a burden, but also a place where your life can express something real and beautiful. To say love in this affirmation is to remind yourself that work does not have to live far away from joy forever. If you have never spoken to yourself this way before, be patient. Old beliefs do not disappear in 1 minute. You may hear another voice rise up inside you and say, that cannot be true. You may hear thoughts that ask, how could this happen for me? You may feel discomfort, but discomfort does not mean the affirmation is wrong. Sometimes discomfort is simply the old way resisting change. It is the part of you that has become used to pain and does not yet know how to relax into something kinder. That is why repetition matters. Gentle repetition helps the heart accept what fear once rejected. Place your attention for a moment on how these words feel in the body. I now do work I love. Say them softly within yourself. What happens in your chest? What happens in your breath? Perhaps something relaxes a little. Perhaps something opens. Perhaps you feel emotion rising. Perhaps a longing comes to the surface. Do not push it away. Let it come. Sometimes an affirmation does not first create joy. Sometimes it first reveals grief. because it touches the place where you have gone without joy for so long. If that happens, be tender with yourself. Healing often begins when truth reaches the hidden places. This affirmation is not asking you to lie to yourself. It is asking you to begin choosing a new pattern. It is asking you to stop using your words to keep yourself in the old story. It is asking you to start speaking from the future you are ready to welcome. That is a spiritual act. It is a way of saying, I no longer agree with hopelessness. I no longer speak over my life as if I am powerless. I no longer want my tongue to repeat the same sadness day after day. I am ready to begin speaking in a way that opens doors. Words carry energy. Every sentence you speak about yourself, your work, your future, and your possibilities leaves a mark in consciousness. If your words are always full of defeat, your energy becomes heavy. If your words begin to carry possibility, your energy starts to lift. It may happen slowly, but it happens. That is why this affirmation can be used daily, not as a magic trick, but as a practice of alignment. The more you repeat it with sincerity, the more your inner world begins to make room for it. Your mind begins to stop fighting it. Your emotions begin to soften around it. Your choices begin to move toward it. I now do work I love. It is a statement of worthiness. Hidden inside, it is another truth. My gifts matter. Hidden inside, it is another truth. My life is allowed to feel meaningful. Hidden inside, it is another truth. I do not need to stay forever where my spirit is dying. Hidden inside it is another truth. The kind of work meant for me can exist, and I can become ready for it. That is why even one short affirmation can carry so much power. It is small in words, but large in direction. Perhaps for a long time you have spoken in a language of survival. You may have told yourself, just get through the day, just make it to the end of the week, just keep going. That language may have helped you survive certain seasons, and there is no shame in that. But survival language cannot always lead you into a life of joy. At some point, the language must begin to change. At some point, the heart needs new words. At some point, the soul needs to hear that more is possible than mere endurance. I now do work I love is one of those new sentences. It is also important to feel the emotional quality of these words. Do not throw them around carelessly. Do not rush through them like a task. Let them be soft. Let them be warm. Let them be spoken as if you are placing kind hands around your own heart. You can even breathe with them. Inhale gently, and as you exhale, whisper within, I now do work I love. Let the body hear it. Let the tired parts of you hear it. Let the part of you that has felt forgotten hear it. Let the part of you that has been carrying too much hear it. Sometimes the heart changes through gentleness more than through force. If it helps, you can say the affirmation in small moments throughout the day. Say it in the morning, before the noise of the world enters your mind. Say it when fear rises. Say it when you feel discouraged. Say it when you catch yourself speaking hopelessly. Say it when you are tempted to believe that nothing can change. Let it become a returning place. Let it become a quiet home for your spirit. The more often you return to a truth, the more natural that truth begins to feel inside you. Some days you may say it with confidence. Some days you may say it through tears. Some days you may say it while feeling strong. Some days you may say it while feeling doubtful. Say it anyway, a loving affirmation. Ian does not only belong to your best days, it belongs to your healing days too. It belongs to the moments when you are trying to choose hope again. It belongs to the moments when you need to remember that your life is not fixed forever in its current form. It belongs to the moments when you need to remind yourself that better opportunities are not just ideas. They are part of the future you are making room for now. And if the phrase "work I love" feels too large at first, do not shrink from it. Let it stretch you gently. Let it teach your nervous system that joy is not dangerous. Let it teach your heart that peace in work is not too much to ask. Let it teach your mind that meaningful opportunities are not only for others. This is one of the reasons affirmations are so valuable. They help train the inner world to receive what the outer world has not fully shown yet. They build a bridge between where you have been and where you are ready to go. When you repeat this affirmation daily, you are not only waiting for work to change, you are changing your relationship with work itself. You are removing the old meaning that says work must always hurt. You are removing the old message that says your only role is to endure. You are removing the old identity that says you are someone who simply survives. In its place, you are planting a new truth. I am someone whose life can include joyful work. I am someone who can be guided toward meaningful opportunity. I am someone whose gifts can find the right place to serve. You may not know yet what that work looks like in full detail, and that is perfectly fine. The heart often opens before the map appears. The spirit often says yes before the full path becomes clear. Do not let the lack of complete details stop you from speaking healing words over your life. You do not need every answer before you begin aligning. You only need enough openness to say, I am ready to move in the direction of what I love. That openness is powerful. It tells life that you are no longer asleep to your own possibility. Notice too that this affirmation does not say, I wish I could do work I love. It does not say, maybe one day I will find work I love. It speaks with dignity. It speaks with quiet certainty. It speaks with spiritual authority. This matters because your inner language trains your sense of what is possible. A weak, fearful sentence builds weak, fearful energy. A clear, loving sentence builds stronger, clearer energy. Over time, that energy affects how you see yourself, how you respond to guidance, and how ready you are to receive change. There is also something deeply healing about choosing an affirmation that honors your daily life. Spirituality is not separate from your work. It is not separate from the way you earn, serve, build, create, and share your gifts. A truly loving spiritual path wants your whole life to become more aligned, not just your quiet moments. So when you say, "I now do work I love," you are inviting healing into your schedule, your choices, your identity, and your future. You are saying that love belongs not only in prayer or meditation, but also in the shape of your everyday life. If you have spent years feeling unseen, unfulfilled, or emotionally tired because of the work you have been doing, let this affirmation be a new beginning, not a final answer all at once, but a beginning of respect, a beginning of hope, a beginning of inner agreement with something kinder, a beginning of speaking to yourself as someone whose life can improve, a beginning of no longer using your own words to block your own blessings, a beginning of softening the old fear that says nothing better is possible. So say it again inwardly, slowly, like a prayer and like a promise. I now do work I love. Let the words move through you with peace. Let them settle into the places that have felt tired. Let them touch the places that have felt stuck. Let them open the places that have been closed by disappointment. Let them become more than a sentence. Let them become a doorway, because sometimes that is how a new life begins. Not with noise, not with force, but with one true sentence, spoken gently, repeated faithfully, and received little by little until the whole heart begins to believe it. There comes a moment in many lives when the heart grows tired of carrying what it was never meant to carry forever. On the outside, everything may still look normal. The days continue, the work gets done, the duties are met, the schedule moves forward. But deep inside, something begins to feel too heavy. The spirit starts to feel worn down. The mind begins to lose its brightness. The body may keep going, but the joy is missing. When that happens, it does not always mean you are weak. It often means you have been strong for too long in a way that was never meant to be permanent. Many people have been taught to treat struggle as a normal part of life. They believe that if work feels hard, joyless, and draining, that is simply what being responsible looks like. They think that to be a good person, they must keep carrying the burden without complaint. They may even feel guilty for wanting something better. They tell themselves that asking for work that feels more peaceful, more meaningful, or more joyful is unrealistic. So they keep going, even when the heart is asking for relief. They keep pushing, even when the soul is asking for change. They keep saying yes to what drains them, because they have forgotten that life can support them in another way. It is easy to understand how this happens. People learn from what they see around them. They hear others speak of work with pain, resentment, and exhaustion. They are told that survival matters more than peace. They are told to be practical, to stop dreaming, to accept the way things are. Over time, that message becomes very deep. A person may stop asking whether their work fits their spirit. They may stop noticing how much stress has become part of their daily life. They may stop believing that work can be anything more than a place where energy is spent and not returned. But even if the mind accepts that story for a while, the heart often keeps longing for something truer. The truth is simple and powerful. You are not meant to live every day in a state of inner pressure. You are not meant to spend your life feeling trapped inside effort that never feeds your spirit. You are not meant to wake up with dread in your chest and call that normal forever. There may be seasons that ask a lot from you. There may be times when life feels heavy. There may be moments when you do what you need to do because it is necessary, but a whole life built only on struggle is not the deepest plan for your soul. The heart was not made only to endure, it was also made to open, to create, to give, and to receive. Constant struggle changes a person slowly. It does not always happen in one dramatic moment. Sometimes it happens so quietly that a person hardly notices it. They become used to tension in the body. They become used to talking to themselves in a tired way. They become used to living from one demand to the next. Their inner life gets smaller. Their ability to imagine something better becomes weak. They stop expecting peace. They stop expecting joy. They stop believing that their work life can become a place of healing instead of a place of pressure. This is why it matters to pause and tell the truth. The truth brings light into what has been accepted for too long. Think of how much energy your work asks from you. It asks for time. It asks for focus. It asks for attention. It asks for effort. It asks for your presence. If all of that is being given in a place that keeps draining your spirit, then of course something in you begins to feel empty. It is not because you are failing. It is because life energy is precious. Your energy is sacred. Where you place it matters. How you use it matters. The way it is treated matters. The soul knows when it is giving too much to something that gives nothing back. This does not mean every kind of discomfort is a sign to run away. Some growth is uncomfortable. Some learning is challenging. Some effort is meaningful. But there is a difference between a healthy challenge and a life of constant strain. A healthy challenge stretches you while still leaving room for dignity and growth. Constant struggle shrinks you. A healthy challenge may ask for effort, but it also builds your strength. Constant struggle only takes. A healthy challenge may feel demanding, but it still allows your spirit to breathe. Constant struggle leaves no room for breath at all. The heart knows the difference, even if the mind has tried to ignore it. Sometimes people stay in painful work patterns because they fear that leaving struggle means becoming careless or lazy. But peace is not laziness. Joy is not weakness. Ease is not failure. These old ideas have caused so much pain. They make people think that the harder they suffer, the more worthy they are. They make people think that exhaustion is the proof of value. They make people think that a softer way of living could not possibly be trusted. But life does not ask you to destroy yourself in order to earn your place in the world. Life does not ask you to silence your spirit forever just to prove that you are serious. A person can be devoted, responsible, and strong without living in constant struggle. The desire to do work that feels more alive is not a selfish desire. It is a holy desire. It is a sign that your spirit wants to be in right relationship with your daily life. It is a sign that your soul wants your effort and your purpose to belong together. It is a sign that you are ready to stop living as though there is no better way. That longing inside you is not the enemy. It is the beginning of guidance. It is telling you that some part of your life is ready to become more aligned. It is asking you to listen with tenderness instead of fear. When people ignore that longing for too long, the body often begins to speak in other ways. Tiredness grows deeper. Motivation disappears. Small tasks feel harder than they should. The mind becomes restless or numb. The heart feels flat. It becomes difficult to feel excited about anything. These are not always signs that something is wrong with you. Sometimes they are signs that something in your life no longer fits. Sometimes your soul has been trying to get your attention for a long time. And when quiet whispers are ignored, life often speaks a little louder, not to punish you, but to wake you up. There is compassion needed here. If you have lived in constant struggle, do not judge yourself. You may have done what you thought you had to do. You may have carried responsibilities that felt too important to put down. You may have believed there was no other path. Be kind to the version of yourself that kept going. Be gentle with the part of you that learned to survive through pressure. It was trying to help you. It was trying to protect you. But survival is not the same as peace. And at some point, the heart begins to ask for more than survival alone. What if you allowed yourself to believe that life can support you in a better way? What if you stopped treating struggle as the only language that work can speak? What if the path ahead does not require more hardness but more honesty? What if better work is not found by forcing yourself deeper into exhaustion, but by beginning to tell the truth about what your spirit needs? These questions matter. They open doors in the mind. They create space where there was only pressure. They help the heart feel that another way may be possible. There is great healing in saying, I am no longer willing to call this level of struggle normal for me. That sentence is powerful because it returns authority to your spirit. It does not mean you abandon responsibility. It means you stop making pain into your identity. It means you stop worshiping endurance as the only path. It means you begin to choose yourself with love. It means you begin to believe that your daily life can become more supportive, more peaceful, and more aligned. That belief matters because the future often begins where self-respect returns. Perhaps for a long time, you have been holding yourself together by habit. You wake up, do what must be done, and keep moving because you do not know what else to do. But there is a big difference between being responsible and being fully alive. There is a big difference between functioning and flourishing. The soul does not want only a life that works on the outside. It wants a life that feels true on the inside. It wants a life where your gifts are not buried under pressure. It wants a life where effort and meaning can meet. You are allowed to want a new kind of relationship with work. You are allowed to want something that does not leave you empty. You are allowed to want work that still asks for your gifts but does not crush your heart. You are allowed to want your days to feel less heavy. You are allowed to imagine a future where your effort is joined with joy. These are not foolish wishes. They are signs of awakening. They are signs that the soul is beginning to remember what it has always known. Life is meant to support your growth, not only your survival. The first step is not always a visible change in the outer world. The first step is often permission. Permission to feel what you feel. Permission to admit that you are tired. Permission to say that something is no longer working for your spirit. Permission to believe that there is no virtue in endless inner suffering. Permission to stop calling constant struggle your only option. That permission can feel small, but it is not small at all. It is the moment the old story begins to break apart. As that old story loosens, new space appears. In that space, hope can breathe again. In that space, the mind can begin to imagine new possibilities. In that space, you may start noticing what brings peace and what takes it away. In that space, you may begin to hear your own truth more clearly. Constant struggle makes it hard to hear anything except pressure. But once the pressure softens even a little, guidance can enter. A new thought can enter. A new choice can enter. A better opportunity can begin to move toward you. Let this sink deeply into your heart. You are not meant to live in a way that keeps your spirit in chains. You are not here only to be tired. You are not here only to hold everything together until there is nothing left of you. You are here to, alive in truth, you are here to offer your gifts in a way that honors the life within you. You are here to learn that meaningful work does not have to be built on the loss of your peace. As you begin to accept that truth, the old pattern of struggle starts to weaken. And once that pattern weakens, even a little, the soul feels relief, not because everything has changed already, but because the heart no longer feels completely trapped. A new idea has entered, a new belief has begun, a soft inner opening has appeared, and often that is the beginning of everything, the beginning of better choices, the beginning of clearer vision, the beginning of healthier work, the beginning of a future where effort can live beside peace, the beginning of a life where you no longer need to betray your own spirit just to get through the day. Before the outer world changes, something inside must often become ready. Before better work appears, before the right door opens, before new chances begin to show themselves, the heart must begin to believe that such a life is possible. This is where many people get stuck. They say they want work they love, but deep inside they still feel unworthy of it. They still see themselves through old pain. They still believe that meaningful work belongs to other people. They still think they must settle, stay small, and accept less than what their spirit is asking for. This is why loving your work starts inside first. The inner world shapes what a person can receive. If someone does not believe they deserve better, they may not reach for better when it comes. If someone feels deeply unworthy, they may say yes to what hurts them because pain feels familiar. If someone secretly believes that joy must always be delayed, they may turn away from the very opportunities that could bless them. So the journey toward work you love is not only about finding something outside yourself, it is also about becoming able to hold it when it comes. It is about becoming someone who can say, yes, this belongs in my life too. Worthiness is a quiet but powerful part of this journey. Many people do not even realize how deeply unworthy they feel until they begin to imagine something better. The moment they think about joyful work, a voice rises inside and says, "Not for you." The moment they think about peace, a voice says, "Be realistic." The moment they think about change, a voice says, "You are not good enough, smart enough, gifted enough, or ready enough." These voices may sound convincing because they have been repeated for a long time, but repetition does not make them true. They are old patterns, not the truth of your soul. The truth is much kinder. The truth is that you were never meant to hate your life in order to prove your value. The truth is that you do not need to become someone else before you are allowed to receive meaningful work. The truth is that your worth does not begin when others approve of you. Your worth does not begin when you finally reach some perfect standard. Your worth does not begin when you stop making mistakes. Your worth is already present. It is part of your being. It is part of the life in you. And until you begin to remember that, it can be hard to welcome anything better. So much of inner readiness begins with the way you speak to yourself. If your inner voice is always harsh, hopeless, and full of doubt, then even good opportunities may feel unsafe. If your mind keeps repeating that you are behind, broken, or not enough, then peace in work may feel too far away to trust. But when the inner voice begins to soften, something important happens. The body relaxes, the heart becomes less guarded, the spirit begins to feel seen instead of pushed, and from that place, change becomes easier. Not because the outer world has changed overnight, but because your inner ground has become more ready. Imagine planting a beautiful seed in poor soil. The seed may be full of life, but if the ground is hard, dry, and neglected, it will struggle to grow. In the same way, the desire for meaningful work may already be alive in you. But if the inner soil is full of self-criticism, fear, and unworthiness, it becomes difficult for that desire to bloom. The answer is not to blame yourself. The answer is to care for the soil, to tend the inner world, to begin watering yourself with kinder thoughts, gentler words, and deeper trust. This is how readiness grows. One of the simplest and most healing truths you can begin to carry is this: I am worthy of meaningful work. Let those words rest in your heart for a moment. I am worthy of meaningful work. You do not need to fight with the sentence. You do not need to prove it in one instant. Just let it be there. Let it meet the parts of you that have felt overlooked. Let it touch the parts of you that have felt used, tired, and unseen. Let it speak to the place inside that has quietly wondered if work could ever feel more peaceful, more honest, and more alive. The mind may try to argue. It may say, "But look at my past." It may say, "But I do not have enough." It may say, "But I have failed before." Let those thoughts pass through without giving them the final word. Your past is not the final word. Your fear is not the final word. Your old beliefs are not the final word. The heart can learn a new truth. The spirit can become ready for a new life. Inner worthiness is not built by waiting for perfect evidence. It is built by choosing again and again to treat yourself as someone whose life matters. Loving your work starts inside because your inner state influences what you notice, what you accept, and what you believe is possible. A person who feels unworthy often settles too quickly. They may take what is offered without asking whether it truly fits them. They may stay silent when their spirit is asking for more. They may ignore the quiet dreams inside because those dreams feel too tender to protect. But when worthiness begins to grow, choices begin to change. Self-respect begins to rise. The heart becomes more honest, and that honesty becomes a guide. There is a beautiful difference between chasing something from emptiness and moving towards something from worthiness. When you chase from emptiness, you often feel desperate. You feel you must prove yourself. You feel you must take anything. You feel you must earn love through struggle. But when you move from worthiness, your energy changes. You still care deeply, but you do not abandon yourself. You still take action, but you do not do it from panic. You begin to ask better questions. Does this support my life? Does this honor my gifts? Does this feel right in my spirit? Those questions come from inner dignity. Inner dignity is very important on this path. It does not mean pride. It does not mean pretending to be above anyone. It means you begin to recognize that your time, your energy, your gifts, and your peace have value. It means you stop treating yourself as though your soul can be spent without care. It means you no longer speak over your life as if you were born only to carry what drains you. Dignity says, "My life matters." Dignity says, "My spirit matters." Dignity says, "I am allowed to seek work that feels more true." A big part of inner change is learning to receive your own goodness. Many people are quick to see what they lack, but very slow to see what they carry. They notice their weakness, but not their quiet strength. They notice what has gone wrong, but not what has remained good within them. They notice their fear, but not their faith. And if you are always looking at yourself through the eyes of lack, it becomes hard to believe you can move into work that reflects your value. So part of the healing is beginning to see your own light again. Perhaps your light shows up in how deeply you care. Perhaps it shows up in how faithfully you keep going. Perhaps it shows up in your patience, your creativity, your kindness, your wisdom, or your ability to help others feel calm. Perhaps it shows up in gifts you have not even fully honored yet, because life has kept you busy surviving. But those gifts are real. They matter. They are not random. They are part of how life moves through you. And meaningful work often begins when you stop hiding your gifts from yourself. The heart becomes ready through honesty. It becomes ready when you stop saying, "Nothing about me matters." It becomes ready when you stop speaking to yourself like an enemy. It becomes ready when you begin noticing what is beautiful and useful in your nature. It becomes ready when you begin believing that your life was not given to you by accident. There is something in you that can serve, create, support, build, guide, heal, teach, or inspire in a way that is true to who you are. The journey is it's about becoming worthy of that. The journey is about remembering that you already are. This remembrance takes practice. Old ways of thinking can return, old fears can rise. Some days it may feel easy to believe in yourself, and other days it may feel harder. That is perfectly human. Inner readiness is not built through perfection. It is built through gentle return. You return to your truth again and again. You return to the thought that you are worthy. You return to the belief that your life can hold more peace. You return to the possibility that work can become a place of meaning. Little by little, the return becomes more natural. You can support this process by speaking daily words of worthiness over your life. Words matter because they shape the energy you live in. When you begin the day by saying, "I am worthy of meaningful work," you are planting a seed. When you say, "I am open to work that supports my spirit," you are planting another seed. When you say, "I deserve to use my gifts in a loving way," you are planting yet another. The seeds may be small, but do not underestimate them. Every loving sentence you repeat with sincerity changes something inside. Loving your work also starts inside, because peace begins inside. Even before the outer change comes, you can begin to build a different relationship with yourself. You can begin to stop attacking your own hopes. You can begin to stop laughing at your own dreams. You can begin to stop speaking as though you are powerless. These changes may not seem dramatic, but they are deeply important. The person who receives better opportunities is often not just the person who searched the hardest. It is also the person whose inner world became ready to welcome what they once thought they could never have. Sometimes life waits for the heart to open before it can deliver what is next. Not because life is cruel, but because what is coming needs a place to land. If your heart is still closed by self-rejection, the blessing has nowhere to settle. If your mind is still locked in hopelessness, you may not recognize the path when it appears. This is why inner healing matters so much. It is not separate from opportunity. It prepares the ground for opportunity. It makes you able to receive what matches your deeper truth. So let yourself begin here, softly. You do not need to know the full future yet. You do not need to force the next answer. You do not need to fix your whole life tonight. You only need to begin by honoring the inner place from which all true change starts. The heart, the beliefs, the way you see yourself, the words you repeat, the willingness to believe that your work life can become more beautiful than it has been. This is not fantasy. This is preparation. This is readiness. This is the quiet inner beginning of a more meaningful outer life. And as this readiness grows, you will notice changes. You may begin to feel less willing to settle for what harms you. You may. I begin to feel more drawn toward what nourishes you. You may begin to trust your gifts more. You may begin to sense that life is not asking you to stay trapped forever. These are sacred signs. They show that something inside is waking up. They show that the old story is losing its grip. They show that your heart is becoming ready not only to dream of loving your work, but to truly receive it. Once the heart begins to open to the idea of meaningful work, something else often rises to the surface. Fear, old beliefs, hidden doubts, long-held worries that have been sitting quietly in the mind for years. This is very natural. The moment you start reaching towards something better, the old inner voice often tries to pull you back. It asks, what if I fail? What if nothing better comes? What if I am not good enough? What if I let go of what I know and end up with less? These questions can feel powerful, but they do not have to rule your future. They are not signs to stop. Very often, they are signs that healing is beginning. Fear has a way of sounding practical. It does not always shout. Sometimes it speaks in small, reasonable-sounding thoughts. Be careful. Do not hope too much. Stay where you are. This is all you can expect. Do not ask for more. Better not try. Better not trust. Better not dream. The voice of fear often dresses itself as wisdom, but what it really wants is safety through sameness. It wants the familiar, even when the familiar is painful. It wants predictability, even when predictability means remaining in a life that keeps your spirit small. Old beliefs work in a similar way. They are thoughts repeated so often that they begin to feel like facts. A person may have believed for years that work must be hard to be real. They may have believed that joy is not dependable. They may have believed that they are not special enough, skilled enough, or worthy enough to step into something better. These beliefs may not have started with them. They may have come from childhood, from family patterns, from painful experiences, from years of disappointment, or from watching others live in struggle. But even if these beliefs were learned long ago, they are not unchangeable. One of the first old beliefs to release is the belief that struggle is the only safe path. Many people hold on to difficult situations because they think suffering is more secure than change. They tell themselves that at least the pain they know is manageable, at least the burden they carry is familiar. But staying in what drains you does not always protect you. Sometimes it slowly harms you. Sometimes it teaches you to ignore your own spirit. Sometimes it makes you believe that peace is not meant for you. That is why fear must be met with truth, not with shame. Another common fear is the fear of failure. This fear can stop people before they even begin. They imagine what could go wrong. They picture rejection. They think about being disappointed again. They worry they will try and nothing will happen. So instead of moving forward, they freeze. But failure is not the deepest danger. The deeper danger is spending your life fully ruled by fear. The deeper danger is never allowing your heart to move because you are so afraid of the unknown. Growth does not come from certainty. It comes from willingness. It comes from taking honest steps, even when everything is not fully clear. Then there is the fear that nothing better will come. This fear can feel especially heavy if you have been tired for a long time. It tells you not to trust life. It tells you not to expect support. It tells you that wanting something better will only lead to disappointment. So the heart begins to protect itself by asking for less. It begins to pretend not to care. It begins to shrink its own desires. But shrinking is not healing. Closing down is not peace. True peace does not come from giving up on your own hope. True peace comes from learning to hold hope gently without letting fear decide everything. The fear of not being good enough is another strong barrier. It touches very deep places in many people. It says, other people can do meaningful work, but not me. Other people can receive better opportunities, but not me. Other people have gifts that matter, but not me. These thoughts can feel painful because they are often connected to wounds of worthiness, but they are still thoughts, not truth. The presence of fear does not mean you have no value. The presence of doubt does not mean you have no gift. It often means there is a place inside you still waiting to be loved more deeply. This is why fear must not be met with force. If you attack yourself for being afraid, the inner struggle only grows. The heart closes more, the body tightens more. Instead, fear must be met with gentleness and truth. You can say, I see that fear is here, but I do not need to let it lead me. I see that old beliefs are rising, but I do not have to obey them. I see that part of me is scared, but another part of me is ready for something more loving. That kind of inner conversation is powerful because it creates space between your soul and your fear. You begin to realize that fear is something you feel, not who you are. Releasing fear does not mean never feeling it again. It means no longer building your life around it. It means no longer making every choice from its voice. It means no longer treating it as the final authority. You may still feel uncertain. You may still have questions. You may still have moments of worry, but your path does not have to be ruled by those things anymore. You can learn to walk with more trust than fear. You can learn to carry hope even when the future is not fully visible. You can learn to move from the heart instead of only from old pain. One of the most healing things you can say in this stage is this: I release the fear that keeps me small. Let those words breathe inside you. I release the fear that keeps me small. This sentence does not demand perfection. It does not require you to have no fear at all. It simply declares that you are no longer willing to let fear define the size of your life. You are no longer willing to let fear decide what you can hope for. You are no longer willing to let fear shrink your gifts, silence your spirit, or block the path toward work that fits your heart. There is also deep power in naming the old beliefs as beliefs, not facts. If the mind says, nothing better ever happens for me, pause and notice that this is a belief. If the mind says, I will never find work I love, notice that this too is a belief. If the mind says, I am not enough for a better opportunity, again, this is a belief. Once you name something as a belief, it begins to lose some of its control. It stops sounding like a fixed truth and starts sounding like what it really is, a thought pattern that can be changed. Sometimes it helps to imagine old beliefs as clothes that no longer fit. Perhaps they once protected you in some way. Perhaps they once helped you survive. But now they are too tight. They limit your movement. They do not reflect who you are becoming. You do not need to hate them. You do not need to fight them with anger. You can simply begin to remove them with care. You can say, this belief no longer belongs on me. This fear no longer gets to shape my future. This old story no longer tells me who I am. That is how release begins. Release also takes place in the body. Fear is not only a thought, it often lives in the breath, in the shoulders, in the stomach, in the chest. That is why slowing down matters. That is why breathing matters. That is why soft words matter. When you breathe deeply and speak truth over yourself, the body begins to learn a new pattern. It begins to understand that hope is not a threat. It begins to feel that a more peaceful future may be possible. The nervous system starts to soften. The mind starts to clear. The heart starts to open. This is not small work. This is sacred work. The beautiful thing about releasing old beliefs is that you do not have to remove them all at once. You only have to begin every time you challenge one fearful thought with a kinder truth. You begin. Every time you notice an old pattern and choose not to agree with it, you begin. Every time you say, I am open to better opportunities, even if I do not see them yet, you begin. Every time you speak worthiness instead of defeat, you begin. The path changes through many small moments of new agreement. You may notice that as you release fear, your vision changes. Things that once looked impossible begin to look possible. Things that once felt too far away begin to feel closer. You begin to notice ideas that you once ignored. You begin to feel less drawn to what keeps you small. You begin to trust yourself a little more. None of this happens because you forced it. It happens because fear is no longer taking up all the space. When fear steps back, truth can come forward. When old beliefs loosen, new life can enter. There may be days when the old voice returns strongly. That is all right. Do not be discouraged. Healing is not a straight line. Some layers release quickly, others take more tenderness. When fear returns, you do not need to panic. You can simply return to your truth again. Return to your breath. Return to the thought that you are worthy. Return to the knowing that your life does not need to stay small. Return to the simple willingness to release whatever blocks your peace. This quiet returning is one of the deepest forms of strength. The more fear is released, the more space there is for new opportunities to enter. This is because fear blocks not only action, but also receiving. A fearful heart often pushes away what it most wants because it does not know how to trust it. But when the heart becomes safer inside, It stops fighting every possible blessing. It begins to let good things approach. It begins to believe that support might really come. It begins to understand that life is not only a place of struggle, but also a place of guidance, timing, and grace. So if fear has been part of your story, do not let that make you feel broken. Let it make you more tender with yourself. Let it remind you that some part of you has been trying to stay safe the only way it knew. But now a new way is opening, a way with more trust, a way with more truth, a way with more room for meaningful work and better opportunities. Fear may still speak, but it does not have to lead. Old beliefs may still rise, but they do not have to stay. You are allowed to release what keeps you small and make room for a life that fits your spirit more beautifully. Better opportunities often begin to appear when your inner life and your outer desire start moving together. This is what alignment means. It means your thoughts, your feelings, your words, and your quiet expectations are no longer pulling in different directions. So many people say they want better work, but inside they are still speaking fear, expecting disappointment, and carrying the deep belief that nothing truly good will stay. When the inner world is full of mixed messages, life can feel confusing. One part of the heart is asking for peace, while another part is still preparing for pain. One part is hoping for something new, while another part is clinging to old limits. Alignment begins when the whole being starts leaning toward truth instead of fear. This matters because life often responds to the energy you live in each day. It responds not only to what you say once in a while, but also to the feeling behind your words. If your words say, "I want better work," but your energy says, "I do not believe anything better is possible," there is tension inside. If your words say, "I am ready," but your heart is still fully closed with hopelessness, that tension can keep the old pattern in place. Alignment softens that tension. It brings the mind, the heart, and the spirit into agreement. It creates a more peaceful space where better opportunities can enter and be recognized. When a person begins to align, something becomes clearer inside them. They no longer chase every option out of fear. They begin to notice what feels right and what does not. They become less desperate for rescue and more open to guidance. This does not make them passive, it makes them wise. They stop pushing themselves toward things that only look good on the outside but feel heavy inside. They start paying attention to what brings calm, what brings quiet energy, what brings a sense of rightness that the nervous mind cannot always explain. Alignment is not only about getting something better, it is also about becoming someone who can sense what truly belongs. There is a great difference between opportunity that comes from panic and opportunity that comes from alignment. Panic says yes too quickly because it is afraid nothing else will come. Alignment waits, listens, and chooses with more care. Panic wants immediate relief. Alignment wants lasting truth. Panic often accepts what only repeats the old pain because it fears emptiness more than suffering. Alignment is willing to trust that what is right may take a little more patience, but it will fit the soul more deeply. This is why alignment is so important. It helps protect you from calling every open door a blessing. Not every door is your door. Not every offer is your answer. Better opportunities come through alignment because alignment changes what you are ready to receive. When you are aligned, you stop asking life to give you something that does not match your healing. You stop wanting what only proves your old fears. You begin to want what supports your peace, your dignity, and your true gifts. This is a beautiful shift because it means your future is no longer being shaped only by pain. It is being shaped by inner truth. The clearer that truth becomes, the more your path begins to reflect it. Sometimes people think alignment must be dramatic, but very often it is quiet. It feels like your heart no longer fighting itself. It feels like your breath becoming easier when you think about the future. It feels like less pressure to prove and more willingness to trust. It feels like speaking about work with a little more hope and a little less bitterness. It feels like waking up and remembering that your life is not finished yet, that your story can still change, that your gifts are still growing, and that something good may already be moving toward you in ways you cannot yet see. When you are out of alignment, everything can feel heavy, even small. All choices seem hard. You may find yourself doubting everything. You may feel pulled toward what exhausts you because it is familiar. You may speak about your future as if it were already closed. But when alignment begins, even before outer changes arrive, there is often a quiet relief. The heart says, "At least now I am no longer fighting my own truth. At least now I am no longer pretending that I want the same things fear wants. At least now I am beginning to stand with myself instead of against myself." That relief matters more than many people realize. Alignment also affects the kinds of people and situations you begin to notice. When your energy is calmer and more open, you may find yourself drawn toward healthier conversations, kinder spaces, and more honest decisions. Ideas may come more clearly. Certain paths may lose their hold on you. Other paths may begin to glow with a quiet sense of possibility. This does not happen because you forced the world to change. It happens because your inner signal changed. The way you move through life becomes different when your heart is no longer full of defeat. There is something deeply spiritual about becoming aligned with work you love. It means you stop seeing work only as a burden and begin seeing it as a place where your life energy can move in a more natural way. It means you begin asking not only what can I do, but also what feels true for me to give. What kind of work allows me to bring my gifts with sincerity? What kind of work respects the life inside me? These are sacred questions. They lead you away from the old pattern of self-betrayal and toward a life where service and peace can live together. A person in alignment does not always have every answer, but they carry something even more important: inner steadiness. They know they do not need to rush, because what belongs to them does not need to be grabbed in fear. They know they do not need to pretend, because truth is more powerful than performance. They know they do not need to keep shrinking their desires because their desire for meaningful work is not wrong. It is guidance. This steadiness becomes magnetic in its own quiet way, not because it is loud, but because it is real. Real energy has a quiet power that forced energy can never fully create. Think of alignment like tuning an instrument. When the strings are too tight or too loose, the sound is strained. But when everything is tuned properly, the music can flow. In the same way, when your inner life is full of fear, pressure, and self-doubt, your energy feels strained. But when your thoughts, your worth, your hope, and your willingness begin to come into harmony, life starts sounding different through you. Your words feel truer, your actions feel steadier, your choices become clearer, and from that place, better opportunities can begin to match your frequency more naturally. It is also important to understand that alignment is not perfection. You do not have to be completely healed to attract something better. You do not have to feel positive every moment of the day. You do not have to be free from all doubt. Alignment simply means that overall, you are beginning to move in the direction of truth instead of away from it. It means your deeper desire and your daily inner life are starting to support one another. It means you are no longer using most of your energy to argue against your own hope. That shift is enough to begin opening the next door. Sometimes the first sign of alignment is that you feel less willing to settle, not in a proud or harsh way, but in a clear and loving way. You begin to realize that you cannot keep giving your life to what continually breaks your spirit. You begin to realize that peace matters more than appearances. You begin to realize that your energy deserves a place where it can be used with purpose instead of only pressure. That inner clarity is not rebellion for its own sake. It is the soul remembering its worth. Better opportunities come through alignment because alignment makes you ready not only to receive, but to recognize. So often, blessings are missed because a person is looking through the eyes of fear. They do not trust what is gentle. They do not notice what is calm. They do not believe something good could really be meant for them. But as alignment grows, the eyes change. The heart changes. The whole inner world becomes more able to say, yes, this feels different. Yes, this feels supportive. Yes, this feels like a better match for who I am becoming. That recognition is part of the blessing too. You can support alignment by gently asking yourself each day, does my inner world match what I say I want? If I say I want meaningful work, am I speaking to myself in a meaningful way? If I say I want peace, am I feeding myself only pressure? If I say I want better opportunities, am I allowing myself to believe I can receive them? These are powerful questions because they bring honesty. They help you stop waiting for life to change while refusing to change the inner pattern that keeps repeating the old story. The beautiful thing is that alignment grows in small moments. It grows every time you choose a kinder thought instead of an old insult. It grows every time you say no to what dishonors your spirit. It grows every time you return to your affirmations with sincerity. It grows every time you breathe instead of panic. It grows every time you remember that your life is allowed to feel more supportive. These moments may seem simple, but together they build a new path. They make you more available for what is already trying to find you. So let alignment become your quiet practice. Let your thoughts become a little gentler. Let your hopes become a little braver. Let your words begin to match the future your heart longs for. Let your actions come from self-respect instead of desperation. Let your spirit stop arguing with its own longing. Better opportunities do not need a fearful heart to force them into being. They need a willing heart, a clearer mind, and a spirit ready to stand in truth. That is alignment. And from that place, life begins to move in beautiful ways. Change becomes stronger when it is practiced. A single hopeful thought can open a door, but a daily practice helps you keep walking through it. This matters because the old way of thinking does not disappear all at once. Fear may still return. Doubt may still whisper. Old habits may still try to shape the day before your heart has even had a chance to breathe. That is why a daily practice is so powerful. It gives your spirit something steady to return to. It creates a rhythm of truth. It reminds your mind, your body, and your heart that you are no longer living only by old patterns. You are building something new. The most healing practices are often simple. They do not need to be complicated to be powerful. In fact, simple practices are often the most effective because they can be repeated with sincerity. A hand on the heart, a slow breath, a few loving affirmations, a quiet moment of stillness before the day begins, a short time of imagining the kind of work, life you want to welcome. These small actions may look gentle from the outside, but they can deeply change the tone of the inner world. They prepare your energy. They set a direction. They help your whole being remember what you are opening to. Begin with your breath. Before the day takes your attention, before the worries begin talking, before you reach for what the world wants from you, come back to yourself. Sit quietly or simply pause where you are. Place your hand on your heart and take a slow breath in. Then let it out gently. Breathe again, not as a task, but as a return. Let the breath remind your body that you are safe in this moment. Let it soften the tension in your shoulders, your chest, your stomach, and your mind. So many people begin the day already carrying pressure, but your spirit needs a different beginning now, a softer one, a truer one. As you breathe, begin to speak loving words over your life. You can say, I now do work I love. I am worthy of meaningful work. Better opportunities are coming to me. I am open and ready for joyful work. Life supports me in every way. Speak slowly. Let the words land. Do not rush through them like a list. Let them become living sentences. Let them move into the parts of you that have been tired. Let them reach the parts of you that have been afraid. Let them speak to the future that is quietly forming inside you. Repeated with sincerity, these words become seeds planted deeply in the mind and heart. It helps to choose just a few affirmations and stay with them daily. There is power in repetition. When the same healing words are spoken day after day, they begin to shape your inner atmosphere. At first, they may feel unfamiliar. Then they begin to feel possible. Then they begin to feel natural, and little by little, they start to feel true. This is how a new inner pattern forms, not through force, but through loving repetition. You are teaching your mind a new language. You are teaching your heart a new expectation. You are teaching your spirit that it no longer needs to live only in fear and struggle. After speaking your affirmations, take a few quiet moments to imagine the feeling of doing work that truly fits you. Do not worry about having every detail. You do not need a full picture of where, how, or when. Simply focus on the feeling. Imagine waking up without that old heaviness in your chest. Imagine using your gifts in a way that feels honest and useful. Imagine being in an environment where your energy is respected. Imagine your work bringing peace instead of constant strain. Imagine your effort and your joy being allowed to live together. Let your body feel what that might be like. This is important because the heart learns not only through words, but also through feeling. As you imagine this, let gratitude begin to enter even before everything has arrived. This is not pretending that your present life is already perfect. It is opening your spirit to receive. Gratitude says, I trust that good is possible for me. Gratitude says, I am thankful that life is already moving in ways I may not fully see yet. Gratitude softens fear and helps the heart open. You can whisper, thank you for the work that is finding me. Thank you for the opportunities already on their way. Thank you that my life can change in beautiful ways. These words carry trust, and trust is one of the quiet doors through which blessings enter. A daily practice can also include a few moments of listening. After you breathe, affirm, and imagine, sit quietly for a little while. Let there be space. So much of life is filled with noise, demands, and restless thought. But in stillness, something else becomes possible. You may notice a small feeling, a gentle idea, a quiet truth rising inside you. Perhaps you remember something you once loved doing. Perhaps you become clearer about what is draining you. Perhaps you feel guided to learn, to apply, to create, to rest, or simply to trust a little more. Guidance often comes softly. A daily practice gives it room to be heard. You may also want to write down 1 or 2 sentences each morning after this quiet time. Keep it simple. You could write, today I choose to stay open to better opportunities, or today I will speak kindly to myself about my future, or today I will remember that my life is allowed to change. Writing these thoughts can help anchor them more deeply. It brings your intention into form. It tells your mind that this is not only a passing wish, it is a new way of living. Throughout the day, return to your practice in small ways. If fear rises, place your hand on your heart again for a moment. If discouragement comes, repeat one of your affirmations softly. If you feel yourself slipping into old, hopeless thoughts, pause and breathe before continuing. These brief returns matter. They keep the new path alive. They remind your nervous system that it no longer has to spend the whole day in pressure. They remind your heart that it is being cared for, not abandoned. You do not need one perfect long practice if you cannot manage that. Even many small returns can change a life. It is also helpful to notice what kind of energy you bring into your work or your search for new work. Are you moving from panic or from steadiness? Are you speaking over your life with defeat or with hope? Are you treating yourself like someone already supported by life or like someone forgotten by it? Daily practice helps answer these questions in a loving way. It helps you become more aware of your own energy. And once you are aware, you can choose again. You can return to truth. You can return to openness. You can return to the version of yourself that believes better opportunities can come. Evening can be another beautiful time for practice. Before sleep, take a quiet moment to release the day. Let go of what felt heavy. Let go of what did not go as planned. Let go of the pressure to solve everything tonight. Then speak gratitude over anything good you noticed, even if it was small. Perhaps you had one calm moment. Perhaps you felt one little shift in hope. Perhaps you caught yourself speaking more kindly. Perhaps one new idea came to you. Honor these things. Gratitude helps the heart see progress even before the full result appears. It teaches you to notice the movement of grace. Then end the day with one or two loving sentences. You might say, I trust that life is guiding me while I rest, or I am open to better work and better opportunities, or what belongs to me is already finding its way. Let these words settle into your spirit as you sleep. The mind receives deeply in these quiet moments. You are surrounding yourself with truth before rest. You are letting your future be shaped not only by worry, but by loving intention. The beauty of a daily practice is not that it controls life. It is that it aligns you with life. It helps you stay connected to the future you are calling in. It helps you stop feeding the old pattern every single day. It helps you become someone who can feel, believe, and welcome what once seemed far away. It turns hope into rhythm. It turns healing into habit. And over time, that changes more than many people think. A daily practice can soften fear, strengthen trust, clear the mind, and make room for the kind of work your heart has been longing for. Do not worry about doing it perfectly. A loving practicee, you'd not become another burden. If you miss a day, return the next day. If your mind wanders, gently come back. If you feel doubtful, speak the words anyway. If you feel emotional, let the tears come if they need to. This is not about performance. It is about relationship. It is about learning how to be with yourself in a more healing way. It is about reminding your inner world again and again that you are no longer closed to something better. The daily use of these simple practices matters because the title of your life is being written in the small moments. The future is not shaped only by big dramatic choices. It is also shaped by what you repeat each day, by the thoughts you feed, by the words you bless yourself with, by the energy you wake up with, by the kindness or harshness you offer your own spirit. Every day you practice openness, worthiness, and trust. You are making yourself more ready for the right work to meet you. And little by little, the outer world begins to reflect the inner path you have been building. So let the practice be simple. Let it be loving. Let it be steady. Breathe. Place your hand on your heart. Speak the truth you want to live into. Imagine the feeling of work that honors your spirit. Give thanks before the full answer appears. Return to these things throughout the day. Release the day with peace at night. This is how you begin to attract the right work, not by fear, not by force, but by teaching your whole being to live as though it is safe to receive something better. Once the heart has begun to believe, once fear has begun to loosen, and once a daily practice has started to shape your inner life, there is still one more lesson that brings deep peace. Trust timing and stay open. This matters because many people become discouraged too quickly. They begin doing the inner work. They start speaking new words. They begin opening their hearts to better opportunities, and then they ask, why has nothing changed yet? Why is it taking so long? Why is the answer not here already? These questions are deeply human, but they can also bring pressure back into the journey if they are not met with trust. Life often works in ways that cannot always be seen at first. Seeds grow in silence before they rise through the soil. Morning light arrives slowly before the whole sky is bright. A path may be forming for you long before your eyes can recognize it. Timing is not always delay in the way fear imagines it. Sometimes timing is preparation. Sometimes timing is protection. Sometimes timing is alignment happening beneath the surface. Sometimes timing is life moving pieces into place in ways too subtle for the worried mind to understand right away. If you do not trust timing, you may begin pulling at what is not ready. You may force decisions from impatience. You may fall back into old fear because you think that if the answer were meant for you, it would have arrived by now. But what if something deeper is happening? What if the work meant for you is also becoming ready? What if your own heart is still growing strong enough to receive it well? What if certain closed doors are not punishments but redirections? What if what feels slow is actually sacred? Trusting timing does not mean becoming passive. It does not mean giving up. It does not mean doing nothing and pretending that waiting is easy. It means staying open while life unfolds. It means continuing to align without demanding a fixed schedule. It means not letting impatience turn your heart hard again. It means understanding that what is right for you will come in a form and time that serves your deeper well-being, not only your immediate relief. This trust brings great calm because it frees you from the belief that every delay means failure. So many beautiful things in life follow rhythms that cannot be rushed. A flower does not bloom because it is shouted at. It blooms when the season is right, when the roots are ready, when the conditions support its opening. In the same way, your next opportunity may have its own season. It may require inner changes, outer movement, quiet preparation, and unseen connections. The mind may want exact dates and clear proof, but the soul often grows through trust. Trust is how you stay soft while the future is still forming. There is also wisdom in remembering that what you are asking for is not just any work. You are asking for work that supports your spirit, uses your gifts, and opens your life in a better way. That kind of answer is worth waiting for, not with hopeless waiting, not with bitter waiting, but with peaceful waiting. Peaceful waiting is very different. It says, I am still open, I am still growing, I am still available for what is right. I may not see the full path yet, but I trust that life has not forgotten me. That kind of waiting strengthens the heart instead of breaking it. Sometimes what delays us is not life, but our own old habit of closing when the answer does not come fast enough. We begin well, but after a while we say, maybe this is not real after all. Maybe nothing better is coming. Maybe I should stop hoping. That closing hurts because it cuts the heart off from the very openness that allows blessing to enter. This is why staying open is so important. Staying open means you keep your spirit willing even when the full result is not yet visible. It means you protect your hope instead of mocking it. It means you continue speaking life over your future instead of returning to defeat. Staying open also means being willing to receive in forms you may not expect. Sometimes people ask for one exact answer and miss the many ways life is trying to guide them. An idea may come, a conversation may happen, a skill may call to be developed, a quiet nudge may ask for one small, brave step. Not every answer arrives all at once. Sometimes life gives the next piece, then the next piece, then the next. If you stay open, you can notice these things. If you stay rigid, you may overlook them. Openness lets the journey unfold in a living way. This is why it helps to say, what belongs to me will find me at the right time. These words bring peace because they loosen the fearful grip of urgency. They remind you that your life is not only held together by your pressure, they remind you that goodness does not need to be chased in panic to be real. They remind you that the right opportunity can reach you through grace, guidance, effort, readiness, and timing working together. These words do not cancel action. They make action calmer. They make action cleaner. They help you move without desperation. Trust timing and stay open. This simple instruction carries deep strength. It says, I will not let impatience make me abandon my healing. It says, I will not let one silent season convince me that my future is closed. It says, I will keep my heart available to what is unfolding, even if I cannot see all of it yet. This is not weakness, it is spiritual maturity. It is the understanding that forcing does not create what only time, alignment, and readiness can deliver. If the mind begins to worry, come back to the present moment. You do not need to solve the whole future today. You only need to stay true in this step. Speak your affirmations. Keep your heart soft. Notice what brings peace. Follow what feels quietly honest. Release what keeps shrinking your spirit. Be grateful for signs of movement, however small. Rest when rest is needed. Trust that life is still moving, even in the silence. Silence is not always emptiness. Sometimes silence is where roots deepen. There may be moments when you feel behind, moments when you look at others and think they are moving faster, moments when fear tells you that you missed your chance. Be very gentle with yourself in those moments. Your life is not late just because it has unfolded differently. Your path is your path. Your timing is your timing. Some flowers bloom early, some bloom later. Both are beautiful. Comparison only pulls you away from your own unfolding. The more you trust your own path, the more peace you will feel within it. It helps to remember that readiness is a gift too. If something came before you were ready to receive it with steadiness, it might not stay in the way your heart hopes. So trust that your growth matters. Trust that the strengthening happening inside you is not wasted time. Trust that each day you choose healing over fear. You are becoming more prepared for what is next. Trust that when the opportunity comes, you will meet it not as the version of yourself who felt small, but as the version of yourself who has learned how to stand in worth, openness, and peace. You can support this trust by speaking simple words each day, such as, I trust the timing of my life. What is meant for me cannot miss me. I remain open to joyful work. These words calm the nervous mind. They remind your body that it does not need to live in alarm. They return you to a larger perspective. They tell your spirit that life is not against you. And sometimes that is exactly what the heart needs most. Not more proof, but more peace. The more peaceful you become with timing, the less likely you are to run back into old patterns just to escape uncertainty. Peace protects the path. It keeps you from grabbing what is wrong out of fear that nothing else will come. It keeps you from calling a closed door the end of the story. It keeps you from making disappointment into identity. Peace helps you stay available for what is true. Peace lets the right thing arrive in the right way. So if you are in a season where the answer is not fully here yet, let this moment comfort you. You are not forgotten. You are not being punished. You are not standing outside of grace. Something may still be coming together. Something may still be opening. Something may still be moving quietly toward you. Stay open, stay soft. Stay true to what your spirit has begun to learn. Trust that life knows how to lead you one step at a time into the work that honors who you are becoming. By now, something beautiful has begun to form. A new way of seeing work, a new way of speaking to yourself, a new way of relating to fear, worth, and opportunity. The old story may not be gone all at once, but it no longer has the same power it once had. Something softer has entered, something truer has begun, and this matters more than you may realize, because the life you are calling in does not begin only when the outer answer appears. It begins the moment your heart starts becoming able to receive what it once thought was impossible. There was a time, perhaps, when meaningful work felt far away, almost like something reserved for other people. There may have been days when all you could see was pressure, tiredness, and the need to keep going. There may have been seasons when hope felt risky, but now another truth has begun to take shape. You are not here only to struggle. You are not here only to survive. You are not here only to carry work that empties your spirit. You are here to live in a way that honors the gifts inside you. You are here to move toward work that brings more truth, more peace, and more life into your daily world. A soft heart is not a weak heart. A soft heart is a brave heart. It has learned that constant hardness does not protect the soul. It has learned that fear cannot build the future it longs for. It has learned that worthiness must be remembered from within. It has learned that old beliefs can be released. It has learned that better opportunities come through alignment, through practice, through openness, and through trust in timing. This softness is strength. It is the kind of strength that no longer needs to pretend, the kind of strength that no longer needs to push through everything by force, the kind of strength that makes room for grace. When the heart softens, it becomes able to receive. It becomes able to believe that something beautiful could really happen. It becomes able to notice the small changes already taking place. It becomes able to hold a future that once felt too distant. It becomes able to say, yes, I am ready for work that fits my spirit more deeply. Yes, I am ready to let life support me in a new way. Yes, I am ready to stop speaking over my life with defeat. Yes, I am ready to trust that what belongs to me can find me. This receiving begins in the present moment, not someday when everything is perfect, not only when the final answer arrives, now here, in the way you breathe today, in the way you speak to yourself today, in the way you hold your hope today, in the way you return to truth when fear appears. The future grows out of these moments. The work you are calling in is being shaped not only by what you want, but also by who you are becoming as you wait. And who you are becoming is someone more open, more aware, more worthy, and more ready than before. So carry these truths with tenderness. You now know that you are not meant to live in constant struggle. You now know that loving your work begins inside first. You now know that fear and old beliefs can be released. You now know that better opportunities come through alignment. You now know that daily practice matters. You now know that timing can be trusted and that openness must be protected. Let these truths settle into you until they no longer feel like ideas from outside, but like wisdom rising from within your own being. There will still be days when you need to remind yourself, days when the old heaviness returns for a moment, days when you feel uncertain, but now you have a way back, a breath, a hand on the heart, a gentle affirmation, a return to worthiness, a return to openness, a return to peace. These are not small things. These are sacred ways of guiding yourself back into alignment. each time you return, you strengthen the new life inside you. Each time you return, you remind your spirit that it is safe to keep believing. And perhaps most of all, remember this: you do not have to chase what is truly yours with fear. What is right for you can meet you through honesty, practice, and trust. The right work will not ask you to leave your soul behind. The right opportunity will not depend on you hating yourself into success. The right path will not require you to deny your worth. It may ask for courage. It may ask for patience. It may ask for growth, but it will not ask you to betray the deepest truth of your heart. That is how you will know it carries something real. So if the world feels uncertain at times, let your inner world become your place of steadiness. If the old voice tries to return, answer it with truth. If fear arises, breathe and soften. If doubt appears, remember how far your heart has already come. If the answer is still forming, trust timing and stay open. Life is not finished with you. Your story is not closed. Better opportunities are not beyond reach. The work that honors your gifts, your peace, and your spirit can still find its way to you. Let yourself believe that. Let yourself rest in that. Let yourself move through the coming days with a softer heart and a steadier mind. Speak kindly over your life. Practice daily. Notice what feels true. Release what keeps you small. Stay open to the quiet movement of grace. And each time you need a simple truth to return to, let it be this: I now do work I love. Better opportunities are coming to me. I am worthy of meaningful work. Life supports me in every way. And so, as this moment comes to rest, place your hand on your heart once more and feel how much has already shifted inside you. Perhaps not everything in the outer world has changed yet, but something important has begun. A softer way of seeing yourself, a kinder way of thinking about work, a deeper belief that your life can hold more peace, more meaning, and more joy than it has before. That beginning matters. It is not small. It is the seed of the next chapter. You do not need to force your future into place. You do not need to solve every step tonight. You do not need to return to the old belief that struggle is the only way. Your task now is simpler and more sacred. Stay open. Stay kind to yourself. Keep speaking the truth you are growing into. Keep making room in your heart for work that feels right, honest, and alive. Keep trusting that what belongs to you can reach you in the right time and in the right way. Let these words stay with you gently. I now do work I love. I am worthy of meaningful work. Better opportunities are coming to me. I am open and ready for joyful work. Life supports me in every way. Speak them not as distant wishes, but as living truths you are learning to receive. Let them shape your mornings. Let them calm your fears. Let them guide your choices. Let them remind you that your spirit was never meant to be forgotten inside your work. Go forward with a softer heart, a steadier breath, and a quieter trust. The path may still unfold one step at a time, but you are no longer walking it in the same way. You are walking it with more awareness, more worth, and more willingness to receive what once felt far away. And that changes everything. Because the moment you stop closing your heart to something better, life begins finding new ways to meet you.